Good afternoon, Standard 9 students. Now, yesterday I had explained how Bassanio explains to Antonio how he was living and how he would lose an arrow and how he would find it back. That which was compared to the loans that he has been taking from Antonio, and on how he would recover it back. So now he feels that by giving this example, Antonio would understand that he has come to borrow some more money. Okay. And this time he is going to use this borrowed money very carefully, and for which he would be in a position to clear the previous loans as well as the last one which he has come to take. So that is exactly what he was trying to convince Antonio. Now Antonio, being a friend, he says, "You know me well, and herein spend but time to wind about my love with circumstance." So Antonio says, "You know me well, what kind of a person I am." Okay. And there was no need. If you actually consider me to be your friend, you should not have beaten about the bush. You should not gone guma firake. Okay. Says, "And out of doubt, you do me now more wrong in making question of my uttermost, than if thou had made waste of all I have. Then do but say to me what I should do." So now he says, "You have proved me wrong, that whenever you had come for money, I had given you. I did not even question you for what purpose you wanted the money. And now again you are being very formal with me. You are not talking to me as a friend." I told you, Bassanio is feeling embarrassed because he has already borrowed a lot of money from Antonio. And now he has come again to borrow money from Antonio. So he is feeling a bit awkward. Okay, he's not feeling too good, but he is desperately in need of the money. So he says, "I can only rely on you." And then when he says, "When I will take the money and I will use it carefully, and then I will make sure that I will pay back the previous and the present loan." So as a friend, he says, "You have not understood me well. I mean, now you are talking to me not like a true friend, but like a person in a very formal manner, that you will return back the money and all that." He says, "You know me well, that whenever you borrowed money, I never questioned you on anything, that for what purpose you wanted the money. Okay. Now there is no need for you to beat about the bush. Just tell me, what am I supposed to do?" "That in your knowledge may be done, and I am pressed unto it, therefore speak." So instead of going around the bush or beating about the bush, he says, "Just tell me, what is it that you want from me? What possible help you require from me? You just say the word, and I will definitely help you. There is no need for you to go telling me a story in my school days when I lost a shaft and all that. So there is no need for it. If you're telling me a story, it means that you are not considering me a true friend. You are treating me like a stranger. So I'm requesting you, just say what you want and what you want from me to do, in which way that I could help you." Then Bassanio talks about the lady whom he had promised to discuss with Antonio. In Belmont, a lady richly left, Means in Belmont there is a lady who has got a lot of wealth. Her father has left behind him a lot of wealth for this lady. She is fair and fairer than the world. She is a fair complexioned lady, but she is much more fairer than the word fair expresses. Of wondrous virtues, means she possesses a very good nature. Her character, her behavior is commendable. Okay. Sometimes from her eyes, I did receive fair speechless messages. So sometimes when I did visit her father's house, when her father was alive, I could see that she would send me some love signals, silent messages. Okay. And her name is Portia. Now, who is this lady in Belmont? Her name? Her name is Portia. Now, listen very carefully, don't get confused. Now, Portia is the name of the lady whom Bassanio wants to marry. She is a lady living in Belmont. Okay. Now, Bassanio is praising his fiancée, Portia. He says she is compared to Lady Portia in the play Julius Caesar. Now, in the play Julius Caesar, there is another Portia. She is Cato's daughter. Cato is one of the statesmen or a general in Rome. So, that Portia is Cato's daughter, and this Cato's daughter married Brutus. Brutus was another noble of Rome, holding a high. He had the second highest post in Rome. Now, this lady Portia, who Bassanio refers to, was a lady who was considered to be a class above the women in general. Means she had a high esteem, means she was respected more than what the general women would be respected for. She had different qualities that kept her a class above the rest. Okay. So, he says, like that, Portia is the Portia I am talking about in Belmont. Okay. Nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth. Everybody in the entire world knows that she is a very pretty and a very rich lady. For the four winds blow in from every coast. That means there are suitors coming from every corner of the world. Renowned suitors. And the sunny locks hang on her temples like a golden fleece, which makes her seat of Belmont, Colco's strand. He says, now everyone is attracted to this lady's golden color hair. Now the golden color hair these foreigners have, we call it blonde. So he says, from every four corners, from wherever the wind blows, they come by ship. These renowned suitors, they come just because they are attracted towards this lady's golden color hair. Now this golden color hair of hers has been compared to the golden fleece. Now the golden fleece is a story, a Greek story, where a ram is killed and his body, his flesh, is hanging in the middle of the forest. That is magical. So it glitters, it shines. Okay. At night time, suddenly from this fleece, a golden color light is distributed or is shown, shining, glittering, shimmering. Okay. So now, like that magical ram has attracted many princes to come and try to get it. Like that, Portia, every suitor is attracted towards a golden color hair. And they come like Jasons. Now, Jason was the character who, with the help of his wife, was able to be successful in getting the golden fleece. He was a successful prince who got the golden fleece. Now, this golden fleece was in the middle of the forest and it was guided or guarded or protected by a dragon. So many of the princes who wanted to marry the princess of Colchos, they were given the task to get the golden fleece, which was very adventurous, it was very dangerous. So like that Greek story, Bassanio explains how the suitors are wanting to marry Portia. Okay. And oh my Antonio, had I but the means to hold a rival place with one of them. You say, oh my dear Antonio, how I wish I had the money to take part in this competition. Because I am 100% sure that if I take part, in spite of all the rich rivals that will be there, I know deep down, as if my fortune foretells me that I will be successful in this mission. Okay, that I should questionless be fortunate, means I will be successful. Now Antonio says, now remember in the same scene earlier, he thanks his fortune, means he is a very rich merchant and he's not worried about the safety of his ship and he is not sad because of his ships. He says, thou knowest that all my fortunes are at sea. Now he tells Bassanio, you are aware that I have invested all my money in my ship. Neither have I money nor commodity. Now at the present moment, I do not have any money with me, neither do I have any commodity that I could sell or mortgage to give you that amount of money. To raise the present sum, therefore go forth. Now he says, now in order to raise that amount of money, then we would have to borrow it from somebody in Venice. So what we can do is, both of us will try to borrow money, okay, and you use my name. And everyone, means we should get the money because of my business ventures. Okay. And if you are borrowing money, then tell the person from whomsoever you are borrowing the money that Antonio will pay back the money. So, and you can take as much as money you want till you are satisfied or you are furnished with how much money when you have to go to Belmont to win Portia's hand. Means, if you come across a money lender who's willing to give you how much money you want, just take it and tell him that Antonio will pay for it. And I will not question you as to why I gave you the freedom to borrow money. It does not mean that you are going to borrow certain amount of money. So I am not going to utter a single word. As much as money you want, you just take it and tell them that I will pay it back. But you shouldn't run short of money when you are going to Belmont. So on those grounds, we come to know the true friendship of Antonio and Bassanio. So now we have come to the end of this chapter, and I shall be conducting a test later on. Thank you.